What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about an issue that I believe could actually be bigger than the hacking problem. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, I just want to let you guys know that I cover just about everything with each game mode, and it's funny to me when I see comments getting mad that I'm talking about an event or a bundle or upcoming content, even though you can click my channel and see that I've addressed and will continue to address what you're also concerned about, whether it's cheating, whether it's AI, whether it's a big issue that we're going to break down here tonight. There's only so much that a video could really do until creators are waiting, like everyone else, for developers to get back from holiday break to push out some brand new patch notes. It looks like update 1.65 does contain the Squid Game crossover that is going to be dropping officially this Friday, January 3rd, and that is likely also the same update that contains a lot of the patch notes that have already been scheduled via the Black Ops 6 Trello board. So the changes that you're waiting for are on the way. It's just unfortunate that we've had to wait this long. Now, I first want to start off with a discussion about the player count, because I've seen a lot of comments on my videos and some of my recent live streams talking about, first off, the Steam player numbers. There has been what is reportedly a 40% drop off with Steam. Now, something that my buddy Lego also pointed out over on Twitter is that Steam has had a number of issues with Black Ops 6 specifically when it comes to frame rate, stability, even crashing. And also remember, if you're on PC, there's other platforms that you can play Black Ops 6 on. First off, Game Pass, and I'm sure that's a big pull for people that are on PC. Or you could also just go ahead and play on Battle.net, which I do believe is the most stable platform to play on if you're on a PC, but you can say that's cope, whatever, fine. What about PlayStation? It's been reported that Black Ops 6 was number 3, just behind NBA 2K, which obviously is a bit concerning because never have we seen a Call of Duty drop off like that according to PlayStation numbers. But again, I want to remind you about Game Pass. A lot of people probably moved onto an Xbox or PC to play the game for like $1 or $15 a month, depending on how much they're paying for a subscription. Now, even though we're just talking about the Steam player numbers here, you also have to take into account that this combines COD HQ as a whole, whether it's Black Ops 6, Warzone, and even other Call of Duty titles under the same launcher. So Exclusive Ace did put this graphic in his recent video comparing Black Ops 6 to MW2 and 3. So if players are indeed fed up and are dropping off like flies, it may not just be Black Ops 6 they're fed up with. If anything, it's more so Warzone, the free-to-play experience, which has the most hackers and also has a frustrating ranked play. But either way, even if Black Ops 6 is truly down that bad and players are dropping off like flies, okay, well, earlier today it was mentioned that Call of Duty is still the most played game on specifically PS5 and Xbox Series X or S in the United States for the week ending of December 21st. And I get it, Black Ops 6 had a free trial going on, but it was number 6 on Steam during this same period. And yes, the free trial was also available on Steam. So what I want to mention about this topic is, okay, maybe players are dropping off, and that's sad to see, but I do believe once Richochet puts out a big update in January, or hopefully even sooner, then you're going to see some folks coming back, playing ranked again, and once Season 2 does get announced, you'll see a lot of people probably jump back in. If you're like, DK, you're just coping and you can't admit that Black Ops 6 is down bad, well, shall I remind you that even the Vanguard numbers didn't look this bad several years ago if you look at some of the Steam charts, and Vanguard was still in, I think, the top 5 for most played games, no matter how controversial that game was, and I regard that era of Call of Duty as probably the most difficult because multiplayer was just full of Molotov spamming and a bunch of broken mechanics, and then you of course had the Caldera integration, which quite literally wasn't even playable for a number of people. Now, I know it's not all about content creators or the numbers you see on YouTube or Twitch, but unless you're covering Warzone or ranked play, then Black Ops 6 is still a fairly popular game and has a significantly bigger audience than Vanguard ever had. So do those player count numbers really reflect how much interest there actually is in the current Call of Duty? I don't really think so. Now, your voices matter, which is why I love making videos like this, going over the issues that you may feel there aren't enough videos about, but this is far from the quote-unquote worst Call of Duty of all time. I mean, we hear the same thing every year with the COD cycle, and that's probably never going to change, but you know, negativity sells. That's why people out there continue making videos claiming that this is the worst Call of Duty has ever been. Maybe as far as hackers go through Warzone and Ranked, sure, I could see that, but as far as the base game goes, Black Ops 6, you could probably try to thank Game Pass for why it was so successful at launch, but with the momentum this game had going into Season 1, things are really looking up, and it's like I'm going to say several times throughout this video, a lot of the issues people have really don't have much to do with Black Ops 6 as a game or Treyarch as a studio, but more so with systems that are handled by completely different teams under the Activision engine umbrella. Now, I know conspiracy-focused creators will continue to tell everybody that this is the worst Call of Duty has ever been, but based on the interest I'm seeing from other creators and just from the big space in general of at least multiplayer and zombies, I can assure you it's not. So like I always say, screaming into a piece of plastic or going on a Twitter storm isn't gonna really do anything, nor does that really make us look mature as a community. So there's a way to respectfully speak your mind, criticize things that aren't working without being an entitled a-hole. But I also want to mention, yes, there are significant server problems with Black Ops 6, lots of weird lag issues, and I do believe that's probably a consequence of the requirement to always have to be online when playing Black Ops 6, even if you're on campaign. I think there's a lot of work that needs to go into the servers, and obviously this is Treyarch's first full Call of Duty under the COD HQ umbrella, the quote-unquote MW2 engine that released back in, 2022, so I'm not really surprised there's issues like that, but typically, as we see with every new Call of Duty, just after the new year when devs get back from holiday break, a lot of major issues do get ironed out. But yes, there's also an issue that I do believe is bigger than hacking that we're going to get back to in a second, but later in this video, I will address something fairly important when it comes to the anti-cheat and just cheaters as a whole, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But what about the issues regarding comms ban with communication? What about shadow bans? There's been no communication about that either, which is really unfortunate. And I think with lobbies disbanding all the time, that's also raising a number of problems because the sense of community just isn't really there. The sense of doing a rematch isn't really there. So I think as a whole, there's a big disconnect with the community versus the way the matchmaking is set up to be, on top of other issues like I mentioned when it comes to getting comms banned. You can't even communicate with your teammates sometimes because of odd reasons. But obviously we don't have all the facts in front of us, and yeah, Treyarch may be responsible for some of the issues that we're experiencing. We really don't know, but something I want to mention is Treyarch may have also been pulled off Black Ops 6 to start working on COD 2025, which is rumored to be a futuristic Black Ops game. If that's the case, I'm a little worried, but I'm hopeful that maybe they can pull Sledgehammer, who obviously got a lot of help from Treyarch over the last couple of years, to hopefully come in and help multiplayer a little bit, or patch certain parts of the game and add in some extra content, while Treyarch is likely hard at work on the next year's game. But I know what you're thinking, right? How could people be confident in next year's game if the current one has a number of issues? Well, let me also mention that it just sucks every time a Black Ops game is out, there seems to be some type of new experiment or system incorporated, which often creates negative reception surrounding Treyarch Studio, even though they had little to nothing to do with what actually occurred or got added. For example, an event pass is coming later this week for the Squid Game event. You know, Treyarch didn't come up with that. What about the other events that have been problematic in BO6? I've heard that there's a live ops team that works on stuff like that, and although Treyarch develops the content that goes into those events, they don't actually structure the events themselves. And obviously, you guys know, we've seen 2 Treyarch Warzone maps essentially canceled by now. Euro Mountains, it was supposed to be in Cold War for a Blackout 2, and Avalon, which may come out next year, but when it comes to the cheating issue, that's also all up to Team Ricochet. Servers all up to a separate team, not necessarily Treyarch, so it's unfortunate to see Treyarch getting blamed for so many things that are really out of their control. But as far as an issue goes that I do believe could actually be bigger than the hacker situation, again, let me clarify this. The hacking issue is serious, but really is more prominent in ranked play and Warzone, since that mode's free to play. Do hackers exist in pubs? I'm sure they do. Have I personally ran into any of them? Absolutely not, but again, that's just my experience. An issue that I think could actually be bigger than the hacking situation right now is the claim that XP rates don't actually make any sense. It is being reported that people are getting different amounts of XP per kill during double XP weekends specifically. People also aren't being rewarded with the correct amount of XP after finishing a match, again, without backing out, during a double XP weekend. People have gotten correct XP rates for popping a double XP token, but during a double XP weekend, which is currently live right now until the 3rd, people are reporting that they aren't really getting the same amount of XP per kill, and they're experimenting with the same weapon in the same game mode over and over again. So I know a lot of you guys were sending me this tweet asking me to talk a little bit about what was going on with XP, and yes, I will acknowledge there is a big XP issue with Black Ops 6, which to me is odd because XP represents one of the more fundamental components of a Call of Duty multiplayer. So to see this not working, especially for MP, I have heard that there's issues with plunder as well, maybe even zombies. This is a scary issue that, again, I'm just going to assume is maybe a consequence of Black Ops 6 being a part of the greater COD HQ umbrella on the same engine with what other developers are using. Maybe a really weird issue got past them that they're going to clarify more on the Trello board at some point soon. We've seen XP rates get adjusted in the past for Black Ops 6, so I don't think this is the first time we're seeing XP issues for this game. And as you can see from this graphic that Nero Cinema put out, on Skyline, he was getting 100 XP per kill, 110 for a kill on Vorkuta, 80 for a kill on Subsonic, and 60 for a kill on Nuketown. This was him experimenting in Hardpoint, which also could be confusing considering that this game tracks not only your kills, but your eliminations, which are essentially your assists while playing multiplayer. Maybe something effed up in the background with being able to track whether or not you got a full kill, or if you got a quote-unquote elimination slash assist, and the XP rates are mixed and matched with what you actually should have got. So here's what Nero had to say. He's using Exclusive Ace's method of joining Hardpoint Nuketown, getting a kill, leaving, and tracking the XP. Normally, a Hardpoint Nuketown kill is worth 60, meaning it will double to 120, but here are the results. Match 1, not a kill, he got an elimination, he got 136 XP. Match 2, got a kill, no XP at all. Match 3, a kill with a point blank, 322. Obviously, you can get extra XP from earning medals and completing certain milestones like accumulating those badges with each weapon. But as you can see, as he goes down this list, he's getting different XP rates for doing exactly the same thing. So as he wrote, this is all done with the same Tanto class, getting a kill and leaving. Why is there such a variance and occasionally no XP at all? It can't be phantom match bonus, as the game says that we forfeit that when we leave the game, but when you do get the XP, it seems to be higher than what it was previously, with medals giving way more XP than before. He continued with a Nuketown Hardpoint point blank should only be worth 170 XP when doubled, but I got 322. A point blank savior should be 220, but I got 372. Is it possible the extra medal XP was them compensating me for not counting my previous kill at all? If so, the numbers still aren't in line. So no matter what the numbers are, whether folks are getting more XP than they should, whether they're getting less, either way, this just shows you the XP system is scuffed for Black Ops 6, and for some reason, this becomes more noticeable during double XP weekends, or weeks in this case right now. People seem to get the correct amount of XP when popping tokens, but what about those double XP weekends that we all look forward to? If we're not getting the right XP during those weekends, there's clearly a problem, and I'm gonna guess that someone at the studio, somebody higher up, is probably aware of this, but it's not gonna be an issue that gets tackled until after the new year. So obviously there's conspiracies that maybe we're actually killing NPCs, not real players. Again, there's no evidence that there's actual bots playing in our public matches. There's no evidence of skill-based damage. I know Exclusive Ace also debunked that in several videos by now. He puts out great content too and analyzes data like this and can specifically tell you the numbers of some of these XP rates and what is actually happening when we're playing multiplayer. But it's also possible that some of these XP bugs are tied to specific weapons in certain game modes. There are so many variables to play around with here that I don't think we have enough time here in this video to actually experiment with, but I am confident that this should hopefully get resolved sooner than later. So I also wouldn't be shocked if in the future we can start getting more context with our after action reports so we know exactly where certain XP is gained from, but I think it could even be intentional that they want us to earn less XP when playing in 24/7 playlists like Nuketown or Stakeout, because they know we're completing our challenges while playing those maps, yet they don't want to make it to where we are absolutely shredding through XP while we're playing those maps. They'd want to incentivize us playing other maps where we get better XP. You guys will likely severely disagree with this in the comments, and I totally understand why. I'm just saying I could probably understand why they may have cut down XP earn rates in the more popular maps where everybody is either voting for the maps themselves or when we jump into those 24/7 playlists for maps that are the most popular. Now, I feel like this is a fairly unique issue that we haven't really seen in other Call of Duties before, and like I said, is concerning considering that this is a core fundamental element of Call of Duty as we know it, right? Our progression. And we have a classic prestige system that requires lots of XP to actually burn through all the prestiges, then eventually to level 1000. So you would hope that XP as a basic system would work properly. So it's really weird to see what's going on with this, but I do want to circle back to cheaters again, because somebody who actually is an engineer that works on the anti-cheat called Vanguard, which is for a game like Valorant, he put out his 2 cents on what he thinks is going on with the anti-cheat over with Richochet. So as he said, if it were up to me, I'd shift focus away from over-reliance on AI systems for solving these issues, which I think is probably also a reason why people are getting comms banned, but that's a talk for another time. He said, while AI has its place, it's clear that it's not fully addressing addressing the core problem, a more effective approach might be targeting the cheats directly rather than relying solely on data heuristics or aim models to identify suspicious behavior. With a kernel level driver in place, it should be feasible to detect cheats running locally on the machine without needing to boot or start a driver. The tools are there, and it's a matter of deploying them effectively. I find it concerning that console players are forced into an unsafe competitive environment. If crossplay is going to be required, which it is, perhaps enforcing certain Windows security features at a level comparable to Xbox or PlayStation would help create a more fair and balanced playing field for those who care about competitive integrity. No one expects cheating to be at 0%, that's an unrealistic goal, but when cheating becomes prevalent to the point where it's heavily impacting top players and the competitive ecosystem, it's a sign that the current approach may need to be reconsidered. Now, if you're wondering why there's so many losers out there that are cheating, again, you gotta remember that there's that negativity surrounding the hacker hunter creators who claim that everybody's cheating, so folks out there are trying to even the playing field and quote-unquote fight fire with fire. But as this individual also said, it's the easy accessibility to cheats and how it is being flexed on TikTok that's driving the incentive to cheat. Cheating is like the new way to gain attention from people you never got attention from. Very well said in my opinion. But in all, players, whether they're casual or hardcore, are feeling cheated from the Black Ops 6 experience. And if you're playing ranked player Warzone, you feel especially cheated because of the hacking problem, which hopefully is going to get resolved sooner than later. But I do think a lot of transparency is needed, especially from the specific departments and studios that handle issues like XP earner rates or servers or comms banning or shadow banning, even the Anticheat altogether. We need additional context on some of these problems, which Treyarch obviously isn't really responsible for. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. How are you guys feeling as we end 2024 for not just all of us out there, but the Call of Duty cycle? Are you hopeful that the next couple of title updates will iron out these problems? Plus, how are you feeling about the tweet from the Gamer Doc? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.